Good evening and welcome to the City of Pocatello Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It is March 10th of 2021. The Planning and Zoning Commission is a citizen advisory group to the City Council. They are charged with making recommendations concerning land use plans, planning processes, and/or on matters of plan implementation. All regular meetings of the Planning and Zoning Commission are recorded for record retention and transcription. The following is the official agenda of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Discussion and commission action will be limited to those items on the agenda. Agenda item 1 is roll call and disclosure of conflict of interest. Aislinn, could you take roll call, please?
Crystal Chanda. I am here. I made a site visit and I have nothing else to disclose. Jill Kirkham.
Jill Kirkham, I did not make a site visit and I have nothing to disclose.
Rich Phillips.
Rich Phillips, I was able to make a site visit. I do have a conflict of interest with agenda item number 3. My family owns the property adjacent to the property being discussed tonight, so I will be recusing myself from voting on agenda item number 3.
Shinkuru.
My name is Shinkiru. I made a site visit to agenda item number 3. I have no conflict of interest.
Kaylee White.
My name is Kaylee White. I did not make a site visit to this agenda item number 3, and I have nothing further to report.
And Samantha Stoddard is excused this evening.
And we have Jack.
Oh, Jack Moore. Sorry, Jack.
My name is Jack Moore, and I'm with the site visit to agenda item number 3, and I have nothing else to report.
Thank you, commission members. Next on the agenda is a approval of the minutes from the February 24th meeting. If I could have you look over those, I would entertain a motion for that agenda item.
I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second.
Could I call for a vote, please?
Moore.
Yes.
Chanda. Yes.
Kirkham? Yes.
Phillips.
Yes.
Rue.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next on tonight's agenda is the preliminary plat for the Ridges Townhouses, Division 1. McCormick Ranch LLC is represented by RMES. They have submitted a preliminary plat application to subdivide 6.67 acres into 62 residential lots. The proposed subdivision is located west of North Foothill Boulevard and North Gathey Road Extension. If I could hear from the applicant, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, Commission members. My name is Brady Smith with Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying, 600 East Oak Street, Pocatello, Idaho, 83202, here tonight representing the applicant, McCormick Ranch LLC, on this proposed application. Many of you, I know there's a couple new faces that may not have caught the first round of this PUD that went through. For the last couple of months we've been working on it, and there's kind of another plat that goes along with this because this sits inside of it. So to kind of hopefully help explain, you know, where we're at, many of you are familiar with the old Holy Spirit site that was constructed several years ago and was never fully, you know, built out off of what is, you know, Foothill Drive. You know, they've kind of turned off of that and created another Gathey Road extension, which will continue as other phases of the Trail Creek subdivision develop to the south of us here. We actually have a final plat that's been, you know, before you, I believe, already, that was for the ridges at Trail Creek. And the word ridges kind of gets thrown around a lot. We're trying to figure out a better way to, you know, not complicate it so much, but this is actually a lot within that subdivision. And so there are some references in the documents that you have tonight that reference that we can't do certain things until that plat is recorded, and we're aware of that. But this is actually, I believe, lot 6 of that subdivision, which is a large parcel, and we're coming in now. We've been before you for the master plan of 164 units, and this is just Division 1 of that master plan. So, you know, we're looking to do the 62 units that are currently before you tonight. We've spent quite a bit of time through the different meetings kind of going over some issues that have came up. One of the biggest ones that I would probably just like to talk about for a second is the secondary access and those requirements that have came about as this project has kind of rolled forward. And some things get, more tied to the subdivision, the greater subdivision that this lies within, and some kind of get concentrated here. Obviously, our 62 units exceed the fire code requirement for the amount of units you can have without having a secondary access. Our development group is aware of that requirement and knows that they've got two choices: either build a secondary access or fire sprinkle the buildings, which they are prepared to do and were prepared to do, a few months ago. But since that time, some things have developed to where they've made some land swaps and are working towards a solution to provide an easement to the city where they can kind of start working toward a secondary access to the west and south of this project, which would ultimately connect Gaethje Road into what is called Magellan. There's several things that still need to happen there with some phasing and some other things as development happens, but I just wanted to let you guys know, update you that is in a better position than it was a couple months ago, because our development group has acquired the land necessary to provide a secondary access. And so, although we don't have a definite, for sure, for you tonight, we can tell you that one of the options will be addressed, whether it's a secondary access right now, or they choose to bite the bullet and fire sprinkle the buildings, in the interim. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that, because that's been a big item of discussion. One of the other things that's unique about this project is that each of the units will actually sit on their own lot, and the tenants will own their wall space. It's a little bit different way of doing it than maybe you've seen in the past, but we will still meet the setbacks for the outer border of our project, in the zone that we're in. But each of these units will be individually owned, and they will own the space that's their lot, and it will just be that space. The outside of that will be maintained by a homeowners association, which will take care of all of the amenities, the community center, their landscaping, and everything like that. One of the conditions that you probably noticed in your report was that we've been asked to provide a 2-foot easement around the structures, so that grants the building to have some facade to it. There was some concern with eaves and overhangs protruding out of the building, that there might be some conflict if the HOA came in to try to move snow or plant bushes right up against the building, that there might be some conflict. So that easement actually grants them the right to get right up to the structure if need be, to do any kind of snow removal, landscaping, whatever is needed, outside of that structure. So that is something that's been added to this project since it was probably last before you in the PUD versions previous to this. We think this is an exciting project. We know that this is kind of an in-demand thing right now with housing prices continually on the rise. This is kind of becoming the new entry-level unit. I don't know, if other places in the town are feeling it, but a lot of the stuff that we're doing now is going to more of a townhouse or condominium style approach, or fourplexes even, just because the cost of a home nowadays is getting to where it's pretty up there. So we've read through the staff report. We believe that this, with conditions, meets the intent of the code, and we're good with the conditions that are set forth in the staff report, as well as the memorandum which Merrill put together, and are willing to do what we can to meet those requirements, and would just ask for your consideration for approval tonight, and be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions for the applicant?
What is the proposed cost of one of the units for somebody buying one?
I really don't have an exact price on that. I've heard through the kind of some competitive markets out in Chubbuck that they can bring anywhere between 180 and 210,000. But whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. That's just what I've heard through the grapevine.
Yes?
I'm curious about the 2 feet between buildings. Why 2 feet?
We felt like the 2 feet would actually cover any of the eaves and overhangs that come out like over a window or say your stoop at the door. So there still can be some architectural characteristics to the building that would actually protrude out over the lot line, so to speak. And so that easement actually covers those protrusions and allows that homeowners association to have rights to get right up to the building to make any type of, maintenance that needs to happen. But otherwise, we would just have a building that has no facade.
Is this in between the buildings?
No, this is out around the exterior of all the buildings. So they're attached, you can kind of see, these are all clustered together. So that 2 foot would go around the entire perimeter of each of these clustered units.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you show us where you're anticipating your area that won't be disturbed is? Your
Yes.
Disturbed area?
So right here on the slope analysis that we presented, obviously it's a mixture, but you can see this no disturbance line that basically wraps around what is currently now part of the pond facilities that will support this project and the other 2 phases above it, in conjunction with some other measures that will need to be taken care of. So a lot of this is already constructed and may need some, minor upkeep to get it, if it needs, cleaned up a little bit. But the state and the nature of this within this red line will not be disturbed. We will basically stay outside of this area right here.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission?
So at this time, you're not exactly sure whether you're going to be installing a secondary road or the sprinkler system?
Yeah, I haven't heard a definite, it's just timing. They've actually made a lot of progress, but as you know, things, when they get caught up between, attorneys and whatever, it could take some time, and depending on the demand for these getting built and that logistically getting put in, it's still, not definite, but they're going to do one of the two. But what they have done is they've secured the land at least, or that's the goal. That's what has happened with all these land swaps, is before they didn't have the land to make that connection. And so now there's been a route proposed, and the land that's needed to make that route happen has been acquired or is in the process of being acquired.
Well, that's good. But there will be firewall between each of the units?
Correct.
Right.
Shin, did you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Okay. If I could have the presentation from staff at this time.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. My name is Carl Anderson, City of Pocatello planner for the record. You have before you for consideration the preliminary plat for the Ridges Townhomes Division 1 submitted by Brian Ball, McCormick Ranch LLC. The engineer listed on the application is Rocky Mountain Engineering and Surveying. This property is generally located west of North Foothill Boulevard and north of North Gaethie Road Extension. The subject subdivision includes the first phase of the overall development that was approved as part of the planning unit development application. The density and lot design is subject to the planning unit development approval. The applicant is proposing to subdivide 6.67 acres, more or less, of the overall development into 62 total lots. The common area will provide for circulation and parking, open space, stormwater retention, amenities as previously approved. Staff has reviewed this application and finds that the application is compliant with City of Pocatello standards, assuming that all conditions listed in the staff report are met. I'm happy to answer any questions that the Commission may have at this time.
Are there any questions for staff by the commission? None? Thank you.
Thank you.
Would the applicant, does the applicant have any other things to say?
No.
At this time, commission members, we can discuss. I can entertain a motion. Are there any further questions? Okay. If there's no further questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval for the preliminary plat application from McCormick Branch LLC for the Ridges Townhouses Division 1, finding that the applicant does meet the standards for approval under Chapter 16.20.050 of the Pocatello Municipal Code. Also, that it meets the recommendations and conditions set forth in the report from staff, and add light item, another recommendation that the landscaping fencing shall be maintained as recommended by the Idaho Fish and Game and included in the CCNRs.
I would second that motion.
Thank you. Aislinn, could you call for the vote, please?
Chandler?
Yes?
Brew?
Yes.
Kirkham?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
Phillips is abstaining. White?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. With no further items on the agenda, that is the end of tonight's meeting. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thank you.